Hello guys, welcome back to another video, and it's part 3 of the road to rank 1. So currently, I am rank 18 actually. That's much higher than I thought. I haven't really been looking at my actual rank, but I am 2628 points, meaning I am currently over 250 points off of 6th, and just under 300 points off of rank 1. The difference between rank 6 and rank 1 is actually very, very tight, and the difference between rank 6 and rank 7 is very, very big. It's over 100. This is quite unusual. Normally there's 7 or 8 people close, and the person in rank 1 to rank 2 are usually pulling ahead. However, if you look, I don't recognize who this is, I don't recognize who this is. The changes to the OCC system is probably switching things up. But, yeah, my win rate has definitely decreased. I went, like, 60-3 in my first, like, 63 games, something like that. It's decreased down almost to, it's like sitting around 82% win rate. In reality, it's been lower than that because of, I mean, how statistics work in the last day. But, I mean, that happens from time to time. Regression to the mean and whatnot. So, actually recently switched off to US mid-range. That's what I'm going to be playing in today's video. So with that being said, let's jump into the games.
What a performance there by J-King.
J-King, full plot armor.
J-King is pushing himself into the ranks of the legend.
J-King is our world champion! J-King 7! What? The back-to-back KARDS world champion!
Alrighty, game 1 against a US deck. Potentially the mirror. Wazland Wang. I do not remember this guy. Don't think I've ever seen them before. Greyhound's a mediocre keep, however, keeping the 32nd, I don't want to draw another 32nd. Unfortunately, I did anyways. But if you're keeping the 32nd, it's generally a good idea to try to minimize the other cards you're mulliganing, especially if you're going second. Wazland Wang. That is interesting, and I'm really wishing I had kept the patrol now. So I could just like 35T it. Honestly, that might be the best play, because if I force him to attack with this on turn 2, I think I'm pretty happy. Or sorry, on turn 3, because it should throw off his curve pretty high, especially considering he passed on turn 1. And if it takes a smoke screen, like if he attacks, it removes smoke screen, setting up a whirlwind to kill it. So just get out the 30 seconds. Push up. If he's a bomber deck, he might have the Havoc here. War Machine. Okay. Quite an odd deck he's got here. So that does limit his board plays quite a bit. There's no Scorched Earth to have to worry about. Chinu. That's a card. Okay. That's quite interesting. I could potentially get a Sherman off. We can do it. I think I'm gonna go for the Sherman though. So we'll play that. Well, I knew there was a reason I wanted to push this first. That is a very bad mistake. First first game of the video. Pretty bad mistake. Yeah, it's a little late at night. That's an unfortunate mistake to make. It probably does not help that I'm talking while playing. However, we should be able to bounce back if his deck is bad. That is not what I want to see. Naval Operations is a very, very good card against my deck. Let's do PIR, we can do it, and hopefully he doesn't have a B-17 type of card. If he does, it's not the end of the world, because half-tracking a B-17, although it gives him the deployment effect again of destroying a random unit, it's actually a net positive for me, since it's a massive tempo swing. That's an even better target to, Okay, well, I just kill Skytrain. That will buff this. Do I have enough credits? No, I don't have enough credits to... Sorry, I don't have enough credits to, kill the engineers and the Skytrain and bounce the Black Widow. So I'm pretty fine with this trade. He's probably not going to have any blitz ground units. That's really, really annoying. No infantry. Not the end of the world. Just gonna go for a big board of tanks. So because he does lack board clears, feeling more comfortable getting up. Getting the Greyhounds on the board. So I'm not really worried about him clearing all 3 of these units, and then I potentially don't have any new US Blitzers to draw with Sherman, and the Red Devils pickup sort of takes care of that. Well, that's one way of dealing with those. Certainly not the way I was expecting. I'll just push that, and might go for a little bit of damage here. I mean, we're going to half-track the P-47. This is a very good card against my deck, and he still has Black Widow in hand. Hopefully he doesn't have Empire of the Sun, because it'll probably be basically game over if that is the case. War Bonds is perfectly fine. This is quite a good Stars and Stripes. I can patrol 35T, take everything out, push up a Red Devil, so this way if he has like a B-17 or a P-47, there's at least a chance. He's drawing 2 cards. Man, those 2 cards not drawing off the Sherman is turning out to be looking pretty big. Mustang does nothing, so I can bounce that. Okay, we can afford to get pretty aggressive here. I'm actually going to go for the Hellcat. Attacking first, it does die to air defense because I attack first. However, I think it's much more important to save the 8-8 from a potential counter-strike. So, we know one of the cards in his hand does nothing, and he's dead on board. So, I mean, we've also seen a bunch of cards in his deck that could do stuff. P-47 has a 1 in 3 of hitting this. Naval Operation just completely stops lethal altogether and lets him build a board. However, we've also seen a lot of cards that do absolutely nothing, like the Ramp, like the Bolster, like the Burst of Fire. Okay. Okay, well, huge blunder by me. Yeah, that was a brutal misplay by me, but still pull it through. And, yeah, I mean, that's the reality is, if you do make a mistake like that, you can't let it phase you, you can't let it get into your head and make you start making more mistakes, because, I mean, with the nature of cards, it's often a case of who makes fewer mistakes. Like, you are almost never going to have a game where you do not make a mistake if the game goes on longer than, like, however many turns, like 6 turns, 7 turns. I mean, even there's a lot of 6 or 7 turn games where you do still make, like, a mistake. So obviously that was a much bigger mistake and a much more unnecessary mistake than typical, but yeah, if you make a big mistake like that, but then keep your head about you, you can still come back. Now this is a mid-range mirror, it looks like, and we are starting second. And that is a 30-second draw, which is a 1 in 16 to draw one less card. I think I'd rather. Well, no, I'm gonna trade. The reason I'm gonna trade is like if he has Greyhound hit this, I have 32nd, 35T, and if he has the 99th, I'd rather he not just 99th. Like, him 99thing would not be, like, a particularly good play, but it would be a pretty annoying play. I kind of Whirlwind to hit this. It's not terrible. I kind of want to get the 2 infantries out. Like, at this point, I think I need to play for tempo more so than I need to play for value. I mean, this does leave me in the same board state as the other one, with the difference being I have 2 30-seconds in hand rather than 1 Whirlwind. So this is an interesting situation. He can't Sherman yet. Greyhound's a very good option. This is going to get cleaned up by the 35T, though. And that's going to let me take the front line. And here, it paid off pretty well to have not played the Wurble. Because in the other version, I suppose I would have a... Okay, second Greyhound. Looks like we'll probably do a 5th Rangers. Oh yeah, especially if he does that, we'll do a 5th Rangers. I can't stop the Sherman draw. However, I can... Well, I can guarantee my Sherman draw if he draws with Sherman, which is a fair trade-off in this situation. I'm not down too much on tempo yet. Yep, he Shermans, I patrol, move up Sherman. Greyhound or a Red Devil's draw here would be good. Patrol's not a card that's going to have a huge effect in this matchup. More Shermans is not what I want to see now, because he's still probably going to have control of the front line. He's on the play here, so he can pretty easily remove this and take the front line. And I don't have a great hand for... Like, if there's a unit in the front line, I basically cannot draw with my Sherman next turn. I mean, I'm perfectly fine taking that trade. I could even fully remove the board if I really wanted to. I could hit 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I don't get to push Wobble in that case. I can also just fully remove the board. That seems like a pretty weak play. I could half-track. That seems like a very good way to get punished by we can do it. I could remove it and patrol. Like, I could patrol and trade to take out the Sherman as well. That play seems kind of fair. I like this because even if he does, like, something like push up an 8/8 5th Rangers, I have half-track push-up Sherman, or 4/4 Sherman, or sorry, 4/4 5th Rangers push-up Sherman. I still have half-track Sherman. Please be an 8/8. Nah. Does not go for that, but this is still fine. I mean, we've gone equal on Sherman so far. He's still on the play, so he still has a slight advantage. He's down 2 5th Rangers, though. However, on value, I think I'm slightly up. However, oh, that's a interesting play. I mean, I just feel like I take this trade every day. And then I can just play out a Sherman. Or I don't even need a Sherman. I could Warble, hit the half track. This does leave me vulnerable to a second half track. However, I always have the Hellcat We Can Do It hit Sherman. Also, if he does Sherman hit, move up second Sherman, as long as he doesn't follow that up with a Red Devils, I can still... Okay. Skytrain. Slightly incorrect order. Oh, if he leaves the front line open, we just win the game with Hellcat Sherman. There's like no way he does leave the front line open this turn though. Engineers. Oh, he's doing it. It's slightly less of a punish because I no longer kill the Skytrain. Yeah, the Jasko is not what he was looking for. I could even like push up a 5th Ranger as an 8/8, honestly. I can also go for the Hellcat Sherman to... I draw off the Sherman and then hit the Hellcat. That does let him take the front line, which I'm not a huge fan of. The 5th Rangers play not a lot of punishes that I'm seeing. Because he can't half-track without sacking. And he can't dive bomb to remove it without sacking. Like, you could, like, sack the combat engineers, dive bomb in it, then Hellcat Sherman trade. That'd be very good, but I still feel like I'd be in a adequate situation afterwards. I feel like I just do Hellcat We Can Do It. Hellcat into the Sherman next turn. Depending on what he does. If he does that, is he going to do Hellcat? Okay. I mean, if he pushes Jasko, it's pretty fine. If he pushes Jasko, I hit it, Hellcat, kill combat engineers, and Sherman, I think. He keeps Skytrain alive, he keeps, like, whatever this 1-drop is. What else could I do? I could half-track the Jasko Hellcat 99th. Kill Skytrain. That seems like a troll play. Just gonna go for the more draw. I mean, this guy shouldn't be running Californias. It looks like he's running a pretty traditional list, so even though he is getting a couple more 1-drops out of Skytrain, it's mostly gonna be fine. Okay, so he is running patrol. Neat. Second combat engineers, 35T. Is he gonna push Skytrain? Pushing Skytrain would actually be really annoying here. Dang it. Could just send that back, stars. Kill this. Could also hit half-track, that's 5. No, that's a 1 credit off doing that. Okay. Not a huge fan of this play. It leaves me a little open to his own stars. I think maybe I could have found something better there. I do still have, like, decent comeback tools, and assuming these units on the board stick, I'm not worried about his 3rd, 5th Rangers. Half-track does nothing. Second half-track does nothing. I think he's out if we can do it. No, he still has one. Okay, so 1, 3, 4, 9. That looks good. So let's buff this guy first. Then we draw. Then we kill this and push up. And he's down strap bombing, so I don't really care if he stars. He can't retreat either of these two guys. And I'm pretty confident one card in his hand is Blitzkrieg. And that is game. Despite going second in the mirror and hitting the double 32nd, I've managed to pull that win out. To go up 9 points, 2-6-4-4. My peak so far this season is 2-6-5-6. That was with air earlier today. R-Star on Soviets. Okay, this is a decent hand. We don't need to keep Warble because we have the Red Devils, no 32nd. I'm going to start with the Devils because we don't have a 35D, and if he is self-damage, if he's self-damage, I don't want him to be able to Red Dawn the Combat Engineers. Also, I can always do Red Devils into PIR, play it a little bit slower. We'll see what he plays. Because I can do PIR on 2, on 3, double push. He can't confusion them. It'd be very weak to mobile defense. Okay, got the correct buff. Yeah, I mean, I think I'm gonna do Combat Engineers double push next turn into 5th Rangers, probably. 5th Rangers does play into confusion a little bit more. Okay, I might just double attack because I have the half-track. But the reason to go for 5th Rangers, if he does a first rifles on 4, then it's a little bit better. If he just does... okay, well, depth charges is 5th Marines, or sorry, 5th Rangers. Same thing as if he had done Reich's research to kill the PIR. Confusion here would be really good. He's still a turn off of Partisans. Armored Train would be decent here. First rifles would be very, very weak. Same with Rima. Same with, like, Bryansk. The fact that he's looking at Red Devils makes me think he has Confusion. I mean, Confusion's not a particularly common card, I would say. But anything hovering over Red Devils is like Confusion or Suraj Gate, but I feel like Suraj Gate's even less common. Nah, it is the Confusion. Oh, Confusion and hit the Devils. That's very interesting. Okay. I'm leaning towards playing this just very aggressive. Just play like I'm gonna draw a, I guess I didn't play around Suraj Gate super well with this, but play like I'm going to draw the necessary cards. This half track here is quite good. Lets me push 8 damage and then patrol on the follow-up. Okay. He was not dead on board, and he was not dead on board if he replayed first rifles. So, I don't know why you would surrender there, but, I mean, I'll take it. Okay, got a very simple +4 from that, so, yeah, I mean, if you're giving me +4, you're probably not, you're probably like 2,000, at this point. Maybe even lower than 2,000. You're probably like lower than starting Field Marshal, which means you're not really playing the game. Competitively, you don't care about your rank. So, just surrenders games that he does not feel like playing, I suppose. 4972, don't recognize this guy. Probably another mirror. Oh, this hand. I guess keeping Sherman going second in the mirror is pretty troll. Warblewind's not great. The question is it better to full mulligan? Because I'm not mulliganing 4 and keeping 32nd. Yeah, this hand's okay. Okay, starting in the mirror, going second again, this time against a Red Devils. So against Red Devils, you really just want to go as wide as possible, unless you have a unit in your hand that can one-shot it. Which, in the case of a mirror, is like really just like Hellcat and 5th Rangers. Or you have a way of dealing damage to it without losing a unit. So like if you have a 35T, it's okay to spend a credit to deal 2 damage to the Red Devils, 1 damage on your 35T. What you don't want to do is, like, just spend 2 credits to not kill it, with, like, a 32nd. Despite saying that, I might actually be about to spend 2 credits to not kill it, just because of the way this hand is working out. I do not want him to have a 3-5 after a potential 99th. I feel like he wouldn't, like he would have played the 99th last turn if he had it. But I have a lot of ways of dealing 1 damage to it, which means I can kill it while taking out the front line. Okay, so he hit the double 32nd. Oh, he trades there. That is wrong. That is absolutely wrong. That is, like, game-losingly wrong. And this is what I mean by, like, he went first in the mirror with the Red Devils, but it is so easy to throw this frontline mirror. Because now I have control of the frontline with my own Red Devils. If he just went face or didn't spend any credits attacking at it with it at all, that is like a 3 credit swing. It would have cost me 2 credits to make that trade, and he instead spent 1 credit doing it for himself. And now he has just thrown the game again, because if I had a Stars and Stripes here, the game would be over. Now, unfortunately for me, I do not have a Stars and Stripes. However, I could just Warble hit this, I could Sherman to get the draw off now. I could 5th Rangers push up, try to play for tempo. I'm leaning towards just Whirlwind. Because going for the Whirlwind lets me push up the Grey Hand, and now he's left with all 1 health units. He could do We Can Do It, a double trade, but then I do have the Strap Bombing. Skytrain. That's pretty fine. I'll just take it out with Hellcat and play another 32nd. Although, I really don't need to. And no, I'm going to. You see, the frontline mirror is a very, very tricky beast, because by doing this play, I'm opening myself up for a lot of ways for him to start getting Sherman draws. Whereas if I just done a 5th Ranger, it's much safer against Sherman draws. However, by killing the Skytrain, I'm cutting off the possibility that he does We Can Do It, make a 0-7 Skytrain, and suddenly start farming. The fact that he has to make this trade is just depressing for him. This game's essentially as good as over if that's what he's having to do. I mean, I could retreat it and just push a 5th Rangers. That seems fine. With 2 5th Rangers in hand, I could also have retreated the 22nd and then killed the 164th. Also would have been an acceptable play. Okay, does he have a stars or something? Does he have a Sherman? A Hellcat? Okay, that's unfortunate for you, buddy. No air defense either. And this game's pretty much over. Maybe he can do something with like a... Okay. Interesting he didn't make an 8-8. Does he have a second one? Or, well, I suppose it would be a third one. He'd pass. It's quite interesting. 5th Rangers. If he has something weird, like in the Navy or something, yeah, if he had something weird like in the Navy, I could just half-track it. Probably wouldn't half-track it, actually, because you can just bring it back as an 8-8. He needed California Regiment there, and even then it wouldn't have been too helpful. But these... I mean, this is a pretty good card to have in the mirror, but... I mean, honestly, I could just trade off the Sherman. Seems like a fine play. Get more units to the front line. When you're in this situation, the main way front line has to come back is with a half-track, a infantry to the support line to set up a massive Stars and Stripes. So that's something you always have to be careful about. It's good to get tanks to the front line. Yeah, that game was over. Just writing down a couple of interesting cards he had in there. Not daylight bombing. What's the one cost called dive bombing? 54. So +6. So yeah, there. Once again, starting second in the mirror versus a turn 1 Red Devils, and the guy managed to throw the game. Uh, 3-4-2-4. Okay, I mean, decent chance it's air. Do I keep half-track? I mean, half-track's also fine against, like, anything. It doesn't need to be air. Turn 1 pass. It's a good sign, unless it's like discard. Okay. I'm just gonna patrol that now. Well... I feel like maybe I can just 35T. Guys, the strength of Aichi is difficult to understate. And if I play a 35T, he does have to answer. He can air sup it, I suppose. Not a great play. He can cast and trade, and then I just half track, and I feel like I'm in a pretty decent spot. If he does two, like a second plane cast trade, things are getting a little more awkward. Like if he has a second bomber cast trade, maybe it's a little greedy to hold on to the patrol. Maybe I should just take out the albacore. It's really difficult to tell because it's entirely dependent on what's like in his hand. Or at least, sorry, the effect of playing the patrol versus not playing the patrol is going to be completely dependent on what he has in his hand. So it's hard to make the evaluation of which of these is better. And here, I'm just going to patrol it. I mean, I didn't lose anything by not patrolling it before. And here, it's getting into a situation where he could start getting into some 3-unit cast turns, and then suddenly I can't kill the albacore with my blitz tanks, and I'm super far behind on board. I don't want to half-track anything because everything on his board has a really good deployment effect. So we're just going to patrol it. Okay, and it's US ally, so there's no Aichi. Dauntless is a huge threat. However, it's a huge threat that I can respond to. I could have also just played Sherman, but if I play Sherman, he does Cass and then kills Sherman with a Dauntless. And then I half-track it, but I don't know. Just want that off the board. Here, if he replays Dauntless, I think I'm just going to Sherman. I don't want to commit 2 blitz tanks to killing the Dauntless. Just for him to have a bomber Empire Strikes. So I'll play the 32nd first, get it out of the deck. Second half-track pickup is very huge. Second Whirlwind pickup is going to be pretty useful later down the line, I suppose. Right now, would really like one of my support line board clears. Would really like... Okay, no Empire Strikes, so that's good. Blitzkrieg would actually be pretty good here. Combat Engineers. Okay. Takes the trades. So the fact that he's making those trades leads me to believe that he does not have an Empire Strikes in hand. Dauntless Greyhound. Okay, so unless he trades like this and pushes Greyhound, which is what he's going to do. So I'm going to do 35T, 35T trade. So I can kill Dauntless this turn. And I think I will. It's a really annoying unit to deal with, and just taking it out now, he's shown he doesn't have Empire Strikes in hand. Take out that one Dauntless. And even if he does have Empire Strikes, have 5th Ranger Sherman. And 2 Whirlwinds to follow up. I'm in a pretty fine position as long as I don't start taking too much damage. Havoc, but he does not have air superiority. You can't just take that out for free. So I think I'm just going to go for a buffed Whirlwind. Take out both of these guys. Can play down another 32nd. The Havocs are gone. It's a very good sign in general because lightning is another really difficult unit to deal with, so having some of the blitz bombers gone from the deck makes lightning less scary. Also means Empire Strike's less of a worry. Also, the fact that he just had to do that play is a sign that his hand sucks. Convoy into convoy, it's all good. So Monty's gone. He doesn't have Type 94s. Might have Parasies, though. And he just decides to throw in the towel. Fair enough. It looked like he had a pretty subpar draw, and had a pretty decent draw. 2-6-6-2 for the new peak for this season. And we'll do one last game. See if we can... Well, we're 4-0 in this video, so this is going to be the 5th game. There's a lot of numbers. Japan, probably Jaguar. 35T is actually a really good card against Japan, because they have a lot of 1-1s. Betty. Okay. Does not hit the turn 1 Betty, so that's quite good. Frankly, could not care less if he's going to have supply chains. The Betty aspect of this deck is usually very, very bad against midrange. It's when they're just like randomly running Tonys and stuff in this deck that you have to be watching out for that. I'm just gonna push the 30-second because they have Ginja, and I mean he's played 2 targeted discards, which he could just like Matsue a Ginja right here to deal 1 damage to all enemies. Supply chain's a little scary. Or, not supply chain, sorry, signal regiment's a little scary. He had another supply chain. This guy's not going to be running out of cards anytime soon. And I think I just want to kill that. There's not a lot of ways in my deck to take out signal regiment. And this this hand is decently aggressive. Like, this hand is going to be able to end the game relatively quickly. However, I'd want to take as little damage as possible. His deck is usually not great at dealing chip damage. So let's see if he gets the Ginja. If he didn't get the Ginja, that's unfortunate. But if he did, I mean, the guy's he's not gotten unlucky. Let's put it this way. Okay, he's gotten pretty unlucky if he has to do that. But also that brings into question his deck building. Because what in the world? I mean, I want to kill this. However, I also really want to play a 5th Rangers. I think I'm going to go for the 5th Rangers because if he just like slams a key or a Shiden or something, which is entirely possible considering his hand is like 3 random Japanese elites. Okay, I'm gonna remove it now. Makes Desperate Measures a little bit worse, makes Bombing Rate a little bit worse. Does mean it's a little harder to kill Shiden, not by a ton. What's the Matsui got? Matsui's got a Betty, Divine Wind. That's a really good pickup. I can Greyhound or 35T. I'm gonna go for the 35T to push up the 32nd. I think I still have 1 32nd in the deck. Now is the time for the Ginja. 2nd Betty. And Key. It would be a really, really good Blitzkrieg. So I can clear the Betty. I don't want this Key hanging on too long. Sherman seems a little slow. I think I want to take out the Betty. Because I'm going to be drawing cards off Sherman anyways. So that's 3. these Greyhounds are not doing a lot. So I think I want to use the Greyhounds. Save the 35 Ts. Since they do a little bit more into dealing damage to Key, if that's where this game is headed. Whirlwind's a decent pickup. We can do it's not terrible. That's the 4th experimental flight. 3rd Betty. Okay, Dina to draw 1 card. That is depressing for him. There's the the Blitzkrieg, sorry. That's quite a good draw. So that's 1. I'm going to be pushing Warblewind probably. So that's 3, 4 Blitzkrieg. I mean, I'm 4 off lethal this turn. Definitely not going for that play though. Going for the Warble. 32nd. This goes here. This goes here. This goes here. His hand is 2 elite Japanese air units. So probably Shiden or Kika by this point in the game, which means I want to be ending the game pretty fast. That's the Ginja. That's bad. And that's the 4th Betty. That's also really bad. I guess I can Hellcat Sherman to clear it. Seems bad. It's a little credit awkward, regardless of what I do. I could just play a Hellcat. It's a little risky, because of Desperate Measures. However, I mean, Desperate Measures is just really good against me regardless in this situation. Second Sendai's not the end of the world. It's another supply chain. Floats 6 credits. Not enough credits for Tony. Am I fine half-tracking this? Push up. Alternatives, we can do it. 6, 7. Not enough credits for that. I can just trade. Doesn't look great, but gets the job done. He just Shidens me in the head here. Like if he just has 2 Shidens in his hand. Okay. Can't Shiden now. Does he have the Desperate? Finds the Desperate for Kawanishi. Okay. So Kawanishi's back. We know he has 1 random Japanese elite. Kawanishi, it could be 2 Kawanishis. He could also just have a Shiden still in his deck naturally. Raiden Brigade there is the best card in his deck. Key, that one might be the natural key. Yamamoto, attack face. That's very, very bad. Well, technically not dead. It's unfortunate. Yeah, this is a very favored matchup for me, but the draws just did not work out in my favor. Was a Kika probably off the experimental flights. Yeah, this guy just got really, really lucky on his discards. So, that brings us to the end of the video. Unfortunate to end on a loss there, minus 17 points to, I mean, a really bad deck that does random things. It's probably one of the worst casino decks in the game right now. But, such is life, such is the ladder experience. So, with that, I will end the video here. Thank you very much for watching. Let me know what you think. on your thoughts on the games. Let me know if I made any mistakes I didn't see, or just any other lines you thought were interesting. And I'll catch you in the next one. About 48 hours left in season.